John Fredericks, he's America's Godzilla of truth. All week long, he's world-renowned for his proficient proclivity to prophesy the people's political picks with pinpoint precision.
Yeah, baby.
Then, on the weekends, he gets with the guys that are pretty wise, and Godzilla wins. Godzilla Wins, the sports picking show for winning dough. Money lines, parlays, over-under, the best plays. You choose the game, Godzilla picks the winners. Get expert analysis, exclusive insights, and have a little fun. When the game is on your mind and money's on the line, Godzilla Wins is your guide to picking winners. Godzilla Wins, on the screens of your TV and favorite devices, commanding radio airwaves far and wide. Before you make that play, hear what the Godzilla crew has to say. Presented by WestVirginiaSportsNation.com, it's time for Godzilla Wins, all across the John Fredericks Media Network. Oh yeah,
for entertainment purposes only.
Good Saturday morning, everyone. Welcome to Godzilla Wins. We've got a loaded 2 hours for you today. Hall of Fame legends that have passed away, scandals in Major League Baseball, Winter Olympics are underway, NFL honors, obviously the Super Bowl. So much to get into today. I'm your host, Mitch Rogers, joined by John Fredericks, Vince Mayoko, Trent Connor, and Logan Powell. We will be doing some gambling picks. Remember, always gamble responsibly. If you have a problem, dial 1-800-GAMBLER. That's 1-800-426-2537. That's in Colorado, Illinois, Indiana, and Louisiana. 1-800-327-5050 or visit gamblinghelpline-ma.org in Massachusetts. Call 877-G-HOPE-NY. Text HOPE-NY 467-369 in New York. Please gamble responsibly. 1-800-NEXT-STEP in Arizona. ccpg.org in Connecticut. 1-800-BETS-OFF in Iowa. opgr.org in Oregon. And remember, take it easy, bet responsibly. If shady figures come up to you to try to start gambling rings, say no. If they ask you to throw games and you're an athlete, just say no. Just have fun with it. Little parlay here and there. There's nothing wrong with it. Again, like a Stoic would say, everything in moderation, right, kids? Everything in moderation. Well, fellas, it's been a great week. I need today to wind down. It's been a crazy week. This winter storms are still going. We got more snow in the Virginia area right now. We have wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour outside of my window. Trash cans are flying around. So I need some sports to take my mind off of things. But, man, I'm getting ready. You have the opening ceremonies coming. You've got the Super Bowl, obviously. And then you live in the D.C., Northern Virginia area. The news that Sonny Jurgensen passed away really hit hard and really hit home. And I wrote some stuff down. I mean, if Sonny Jurgensen was an NFL Hall of Fame quarterback, primarily with the Redskins, but also with the Eagles, the NFL MVP in 1967, legit might be one of the purest passers of all time. And I don't say this, but people talk kind of hyperbole. I believe he could play today. If he played today, you'd be impressed, and he would have figured this game out today. But I moved from Pittsburgh to the D.C. area in like 1984. Like right in the middle of the prime of Redskins. Also, Vince, you had the 49ers out there, but you also had Joe Gibbs doing it a different way. 3 different quarterbacks, winning Super Bowls. And so when I moved here, I was all Steelers. It didn't take me long to realize that there was a rich, awesome history in Washington as well. You heard all the stories about Sonny, Billy Kilmer, all this stuff. But the thing that really resonated with me with Sonny Jurgensen is the broadcast career that he had. So they had in my opinion, the best local NFL broadcast team of all time. It's Sonny, Sam Huff from West Virginia, and Frank Herzog. And Sonny, Sam, and Frank were notorious for just having fun with the game, providing insight. Sonny was always the lovable doofus. Sam was always the lovable doofus. Sonny was always the one making jokes at him and having fun with it. But they carried it on. And what they were really known for, what the fans were really known for, was turning down the TV broadcast and turning up the radio broadcast. And people talk about that, and people do it. But here it was a religion. And the broadcasters, whether it was 106.7 or 107.3, they would take pride in trying to make sure that their feed lined up exactly with the broadcast on the local channels, and would delay and make sure that it happened properly. So it was really cool. There was, and I won't go on, but there was also maybe the best local Redskins show ever. There was a Redskins report that had, it was Sonny, It was Mike Wilbon and Tony Kornheiser and George Michael, and it was one of the greatest things in the world. So, Sonny, you will be missed. I want to bring in the panel. His legacy is great. Vince, I saw you nodding your head a little bit. So, I didn't get to experience Sonny the player, but I got to see Sonny the human and Sonny the broadcaster, and it sounds like it was great from all standpoints.
Yeah, I got to watch both versions of Sonny Jurgensen. I grew up, I mean, my love for sports developed at age 8, 9, and 10 in the early 70s. So I can relate. And one of my, even though I really could care less about both teams, was the Super Bowl where the Miami Dolphins went into the Super Bowl undefeated and ultimately took down the Redskins. But earlier that year, Sonny Jurgensen blew his Achilles tendon. And who knows? I mean, a healthy Billy Kilmer in that or a healthy Sonny Jurgensen in that Super Bowl may have changed the history of we might have not had an undefeated Miami Dolphins team. But Sonny Jurgensen, I didn't realize this, but at age 40 in 1974, I believe he won the NFL passing title at age 40.
That's crazy.
And that's legendary. And I mean, that'll get you in. That's the first ballot Hall of Famer right there. But you know what? So I caught the tail end of his career in the early 70s. But I remember him as soon as he transitioned from NFL quarterback, he went right into the broadcast booth for CBS Sports and did a phenomenal job with their broadcast as a color commentator. And then, of course, you alluded to his decades as a color analyst for the Washington Redskins. So definitely sorely going to be missed. He was part of that early 70s team, that George Allen, the Over the Hill gang, and a bunch of washed up veterans, and they were a thorn in the Cowboys' side in the early 70s. No question about it. So anyhow, that's my Sonny Jurgensen commentary.
And John, I know you're in the DC area, and it feels like the end of an era, because George Michael passed away a while ago, Sam Huff, and now Sonny, and the old guard of the Washington media sports reporters, especially with Washington Post being shut down this week. It's all gone. It was almost like Sonny was that last piece, all in one devastating week for Washington sports coverage and news.
I'm going to be 68 in March. It's tough. I've seen it all. It's tough to get me emotional about something. But when I saw over the wire that he passed, I mean, I about cried. Growing up with him, watching him on TV, back when you saw the NFL on your little black and white screen, and he was so unbelievable. He so loved the game, and he was so friggin' good. And that whole George Allen thing, eating the graham crackers and ice cream, and of course now, in having been in Virginia all this time, I knew his son. George Allen, who became a U.S. senator, was governor of Virginia. So I've got to know George very well, and all the stories that he would tell about his father. But just three quick things I remember. Of course, that Over the Hill gang. If you're up there a little bit of age, like Mitch and I, that was Vince and I. That was the season of seasons, when they had all these guys like are over 35 that Allen got. I don't know where the hell he got him, but that was quite a run they had. I agree with Vince. If he doesn't blow his Achilles heel out, the Redskins are Super Bowl champs that season, because Billy Kilmer had a pretty good run in the playoffs, but in that Super Bowl he was not very effective, and he missed a wide open receiver for a touchdown. He didn't see him. That would have turned the game. Then, of course, he threw the interception at the end, where they were actually driving for a tying score. Having said that, I remember three things about him. The first one is the Washington media got on him. He was 40 years old when he won that passing record, and but he had he didn't diet very much, and he had a pretty big stomach that hung out over his belt. And so the media asked him, I'll never forget this on TV, he's in a press conference, and some media guy says, Sonny, you've got a really big stomach, and are you concerned about that, as you go into the season? And he looked at the camera and he says, son, I don't throw with my belly. I never forgot that line. And so I've kind of taken up that, right? Like, I don't care about my belly. If Sonny Jerry can have a belly, I can have one. So that was just one amazing thing that he did. Also, I remember my father, I don't know how old he was, 7, 6, I have no idea, but I remember my father telling me, hey, I can't believe the Eagles traded Jorgensen for this guy, Norm Snead. That was the trade. Straight up, Jorgensen for Norm Snead. We're not talking about Norm Snead today. So that's up there in one of the dumbest trades the Eagles have anybody's made, since the Mets traded Nolan Ryan for that washed up third baseman, Fregosi or something, the shortstop. Oh, yeah. But the other thing is when you were in the Virginia market and he was on the air, guys, those broadcasts with him, I mean, it doesn't matter if you were a Redskins fan. You had to tune those in because the guy was so entertaining. I put him up there only with a fellow who's died too, Larry Munson, who was the voice of the Georgia Dogs that I used to listen to when I was in Atlanta. I put the two of them. They were so far above anybody else. But those that grew up with Sonny, and it's just his disposition and his effervescence, his positiveness. I mean, the Redskins could be down in the second half by 4 touchdowns, and he was still talking about how they were going to come out in the second half and win the game. So the guy was always positive, always fun, and R.I.P. Sonny Jurgensen.
And one of the many unfortunate things that Dan Snyder did is that he took that booth away a little too early. I mean, I know they were aging out a little bit. Sam Huff was getting a little older, obviously. Sonny was getting older, but taking Sonny and Sam's banter away from us, I don't care. They should have let that just go to the very end because it truly was just some of the funniest, heartfelt things ever. Chris, one of the most amazing things is, and you can go to his kids, you can go to YouTube, watch him. You can see him throw 70 yards. I mean, it's unbelievable. Chris, he still has the Redskins Commanders touchdowns individual season passing record at 31 touchdowns. You've got Cousins with 30, and I think a couple others at 29 and 28. He's still in this day, in this era. I mean, he did it in that era.
In that era,
yards in a cloud of dust, Chris.
Well, yeah, it was a running era. He was a throwing quarterback, but he had two acts in life, didn't he? He had football and then after football, and his after football probably made him more famous than his football, even though he was a Hall of Famer in football. Because of what he did with the dawn of the ubiquity of football in our radio and TV lives, we got to experience Sonny Jurgensen and Sam Huff, all the great Washington broadcasters when Washington had a football team that was really good every year. And they're not throwbacks. They just did it the way that was entertaining. The guys you see on TV today are pretty sanitized. They don't really mix it up. When Troy Aikman finally starts offering up his opinions, it gets interesting broadcasting, and that's what I miss about some of these, I don't want to throw them as corporate hacks, but there's just this sanitized version of calling a game, and they're getting so into the coverages and, the zone here and the man there and trying to find the complexity of the game rather than just enjoying the game for what it is and telling some stories while you're doing it. And then calling out bad players for being bad players or their behavior or whatever it is, and just being real. There was an authenticity to Sonny Jurgensen and Sam Huff that I just think resonated with the audience, and that's why the audience tuned in regardless of the game's outcome. And that's what. And I wasn't even a Redskins fan, and I enjoyed listening to him. That's probably the best thing.
I'm sorry, Chris, to cut you off. I'm sorry about that.
No, it's good.
But you mentioned his Washington record, touchdown record. That was in a 12 or possibly a 14-game season, not 17 games.
Right.
Think about that.
And everybody was running the football. You ran the ball. You're right.
Yes.
Lombardi said, 3 things happen when you pass. Two of them are bad. That was the era he was in.
It was in 1967, and it was a 14-game season.
It's unbelievable.
That is,
I mean, the only announcers that could match them now, and I'm not a Steelers fan, but obviously we carry the game, so I got them on, is those Steelers announcers, to me, the only thing that matches what the Redskins have. Because those guys, the 3 of them in there are tough. And they're fun.
With Myron Cope back in the day,
they're fun. I mean, I do the same thing. I'd rather, when I'm on the road and the Steelers are on, I'll put it on the app because I just want to hear those guys. And they're candid. I mean, when the team's not playing well, I mean, they get pissed. A lot of stuff.
That's what's
Especially
great
when there's
about it.
penalties. Oh my God, they get so upset. So
It's the authenticity,
and I don't think
that's
Logan,
the audience. The audience wants that. They want I don't
They
think
want
Tunch is
that.
in there anymore, and the Billy Hillgrove anymore. But they've got a new team. I don't know the team, but it goes to the point of that's what people are thirsting for is authenticity, rawness, rather than these scripted, edited, overblown, maked up guys. They just want guys to talk about the game and how what a dumbass someone's being on the field, or celebrating all these friggin' touchdowns. Just hand the ball off. Like, give me that kind of a version of a guy talking about football. I'll listen to him rather than turn it off and just watch the game.
And Logan and Trent, we don't like doing back in my day, but back in our day, even if you didn't do that local broadcast, you put on Madden and Summerall, and Madden and Summerall had that kind of same appeal where it was just a friendly banter. They're talking football. But Logan, when it comes to his legacy, in your world, where do you see him? Broadcaster, quarterback, or just learning on the fly, which is nothing wrong with that either. You're young.
Yeah, definitely not quarterback. That was quite a long time ago for my era. But I would say a lot of times coming from where I'm from, which is like 20 minutes away from Winchester, Virginia, I had a lot of friends that were Washington fans. So they knew of Jurgensen, and they would talk about his legacy and just what he meant to the team during that era of excellency for the Redskins, and then transition into as a really, really good announcer for him. And I think when those two kind of roles really solidify his legacy for the Commanders / Redskins for all the history. I mean, he was their star quarterback, one of the best in the game to ever do it, and then also became one of the most legendary, best radio announcers of all time. And as a radio announcer, that's very personal with the fan base. Like a lot of fans will opt out of watching on TV just to listen to the radio broadcast of their own team because it's more personal, more biased, and you get more excited. And for someone like St. Jurgensen, Sam Huff, like they were the Redskins, they embodied the team, and they were someone that the fan base could get around in for years. And I just think he's going to be dearly missed for all across the NFL, especially for the Redskins community.
God, Logan, you really nailed something. And I know there's a couple of older guys here. But the radio broadcast of games, you just nailed it. They'll never replace that on TV. And I'm the same way. I mean, if I'm on the road, now if I'm home, I'll put the Astros on every night on the MLB, and I still got my home guys. But I'm on the road, like I never put it on the TV app. I want my radio guys because it's just different. First of all, they make a picture of the game, which you don't get on TV because it's there. There's no nonsense that goes on, and they talk about the game, and they talk about everything that you care about for your team, and so it's very different than the TV broadcast. And I'm not sure that that's ever guys going to get. I know a lot of people say radio's gone. We keep buying stations, so I hope not. Maybe we're idiots. They always say, "Oh, it's gone." I say the opposite. I mean, there's something about radio, and if you have a team, getting the guys on the radio is so different than the sanitized version. Even when you have your home games guys on TV, it's so different. So,
John, I can relate, man. I mean, here on the West Coast, obviously Vin Scully, all those years with the Dodgers, but with the Giants, man, listening to John Miller on the radio, that is poetry, absolute poetry.
That's a great point. John Miller used to be at the Orioles.
He's Orioles, yeah. He was Orioles. ESPN had him for a while, and then Masson brought him back.
Biggest mistake ESPN ever made was letting go of John Miller.
I agree. I agree. Trent, there's the fact that Sam and Sonny, Sam Huff and Sonny were such a awesome duo together. It brings kind of like Sonny into the West Virginia kind of trail for me because I always resonated because I wasn't a West Virginia fan until I went there. So then after I went to West Virginia, then it just brought a whole different meaning for me. But what's your take on Sonny and legacy from your perspective?
Yeah, I'm younger. I don't really remember Sonny Jurgensen as much, so forgive my ignorance. But I was reading up on him, before the show, doing some research, and I didn't even realize he played for Otto Graham and Vince Lombardi, as his head coach. So two legends of the game, really allowed him to become a legend of the game by opening up the play sheet for him to throw the ball when they played in an era where they, ran the ball 3 or 4 times every drive. Like, that's how in my area in high school football, we had 4 downs to get 10 yards because we ran the ball every play. I think we threw 2 passes, every 5 games. So I relate with that era of football. You hat on a hat, man on a man, whatever side you have more numbers, that's the side you run to.
Like remember, guys, ground Chuck Knox, right? 3 yards in a cloud of dust. They called him ground Chuck. He never threw the ball. I think he's with the Rams. All this stuff comes back to you when you read about this. Hey, Trent, why'd you tell everybody about your new job you got? That's cool.
Yeah, yep. I am starting a full-time writing position at WikiHow, so I'm doing something that I love, something that I've been kind of doing part-time for the past few years. I'm finally taking it to the next step and, really following my passion.
Listen, it's the 1-year anniversary of WV Sports Nation. I'll let Mitch get into that. Not going to steal his thunder, but we're so proud of you. Trent, we're proud of Jonathan Edwards. I mean, the reason Ann and I started this thing with our son, Jack, was to give, and that's why we started Godzilla Wins, was to give young writers that don't really have an opportunity a shot to build a resume, to get experience, and then hopefully move up and get something else. We were able to do that now with a number of our writers, including Jonathan Edwards, who's now in Huntington with the newspaper there. He got that based on being the editor of and all the writing he did. And Trent started with us. He was a freelance writer. This was his passion. He wanted to write for a living. It's a tough business to get in. And he started with us on Godzilla Wins, picking, basketball games. I don't remember, but he started there. And then when we switched him over to WB Sports Nation, he's become one of our great beat writers, our featured beat writers. He had an interview with Mark Kellogg the other day, the basketball women's coach of WVU. And after the interview was over, Kellogg called me and said, "This guy has the most knowledge of anybody in media I've talked to in my entire career." So a big compliment for you and congratulations. That's why Ann started this thing. It's all about giving our young people an opportunity to get to the next step. So congratulations on that.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Good job.
Congrats.
Congratulations, Trent.
Thanks.
Well, before we do that, tell us about, this is the worst segue ever. I tried to do the segues, but we need to talk about some healthy cell. It is cold outside. I can't get any vitamin D because I can't get outside. I feel like when winter comes, I'm the most unhealthy version of myself ever. I think Healthy Cell may be able to help that out. What do you think?
Dude, you got to go to healthycell.com. It's all about quality of life, feeling better. The way we run around today, how busy we are, not always eating the right way. I try to do that, but you've got to get your multivitamins in your system. And if you go to GNC and you buy those stupid pills with the casing on it, you pee it out, it's garbage, right? You might as well take the money and bet the Rangers every night. You'll probably do better. But if you go to healthycell.com, healthycell.com/Godzilla, we're going to give you 20% off your first order. Nobody has this, 20% off. Take your, like I have here, my bioactive multivitamin, and I take it. Joe and Jack Claire every day. Just tear it off, down it, get all the essential vitamins. It's in a gel pack, so it goes right into your cells, right into your system. And then 15 minutes before you go to bed, you want to get REM sleep. We do it, Ann and I, Joe, every night. Pop that thing in, Jack too. 15 minutes, you're out, puts you in all 4 phases of sleep. And then you jump out of bed. You feel like the first night you take it, you're going to be like, oh my God, I was dreaming like crazy. It's going to make an impact in your health and an impact in your life. All you got to do is go to healthycell.com, promo code Godzilla, 20% off. Do it now. Stop waiting. Do it.
Don't wait. Do it now. Welcome back to the Godzilla Wins Show. It's Saturday. Opening ceremonies. The Olympics were last night. We have the Super Bowl tomorrow. We're going to get to all of that, but we're going to get to some of the more scandalous things or more trade things. We don't do much NBA. Let's do a little NBA right now. Look,
Why?
Logan likes look the young kids are fun. They're in. We're back, baby. James Harden, the best player maybe to never win anything. He is being traded again for the 5th time, and if you're an NBA, if you're following the NBA, you know the Clippers with their trio have failed, and they started off really piss poor this season, and then they went on a hot streak since December. They were the hottest team in the NBA, but that didn't stop them from blowing it all up. Logan, James Harden. I mean, how many teams? Brooklyn, Oklahoma,
Houston.
You know, what does this say about him? This one seemed a little different. He didn't force himself out. It sounded like him and Tyronn Lue, everything was pretty amicable. He was at the building the day of. He shook hands and kissed babies and left on good terms. But what a failed thing what the Clippers are doing, it also while being under investigation for signing. What am I blanking? Logan God. Oh no, is he on?
Yep. Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah, with the Kawhi Leonard and the fake tree business, that was an interesting scandal for the Clippers. I don't know, that franchise is certainly cursed. They just got the new stadium, trying to get out of the Lakers, shadow, and so far they haven't been able to do that in their entire existence. And for James Harden, this is just another, addition to his very complicated legacy of kind of helping teams, but in the end, not really helping them to the extent that they're looking at him, and he can bring a lot to a team. And certainly in his prime, he was one of the top scorers in the game. However, this late in his career, while he still has his good nights, and he's going to join the Cavs, and they're probably going to make a run and make the playoffs, and he'll have a game or two that's really good. But when it's all said and done, those game 6s, those game 7s, he's going to crumble and kind of choke in the playoffs, and that's what he's done his whole career. And he's also been somewhat of a cancer at times, somewhat of a nuisance, and someone that kind of does more harm than good at times. And I don't know, I just think for the Cavs, you're now closing your playoff window, your NBA Finals window to 1, max 2 years. With Darius Garland, you could have extended that and kept it going. But this also shows me that maybe Donovan Mitchell might be out in the next year or two. Yeah. Looking to go somewhere else, Lakers possibly. He's a really good player, and I think him and James Harden will do good together, because at this stage of Harden's career, he doesn't necessarily need to have the ball 24/7 like he used to. You can allow Mitchell to do his thing and run the team, but overall, I think for the Clippers, it's a pretty good trade, because you got Garland. I think you also got a 2nd-round pick.
Yeah,
Garland's a pretty good player, and for the Cavs, like I said, it just kind of quickened their NBA Finals run for the next 1 to 2 years, which I don't think they were in the position for.
Trent, I think the most intriguing part of this is Cleveland actually has a good basketball team. You bring up Donovan Mitchell. If they could somehow hang out and play nice together in that backcourt, but with Evan Mobley and Jared Allen down low, if Harden comes through, we say it all the time, he's going to make them better, whether or not he can push them to the championship. But it does make Cleveland a lot better team, in my opinion. What do you think, Trent?
Yeah, I think Cleveland got significantly better here. Garland is a good player. James Harden can be a great player. He's on the older end, near the end of his career, so he doesn't quite have it every night, game in, game out. But that's why you put him alongside Donovan Mitchell, who can light it up like anyone else in the league. He's and then you got Jared Allen, who's coming to his own as a center. He's really put on some mass since coming out of Texas. And then you got Mobley, who can stretch the floor, grab boards. He's a really dynamic player, and I think if you let Harden kind of just be the playmaker in that offense. Garland was kind of there to do that, but he was more of a score first point guard. And now you got Harden, who is a very pass-heavy point guard. He can score when he's feeling it, but he knows how to take a step back and let the other guys perform. For the Clippers, I think they had a really good deadline. They got Garland for basically, or for Harden, you know, and they got a second round pick, I believe. Then they traded Zubac, their center, for Benedict Mathurin and like 2 first round picks. So I think the Clippers really made out in this deal, and they kind of have started their rebuild.
Yeah, and Vince, I mean, Harden kind of represents the new NBA in a little ways. You know, he started. I mean, I know Steph Curry started with the threes, but it felt like Harden being able to get open on his own. You know, that step back, whatever that. I mean, Jordan had a step back, but not a step back from 60, 90, 120 feet away. It seems like Harden has revolutionized the game. If he doesn't ever win a championship, his legacy is going to be something, right?
Well, I think his legacy is aside from being at the beard, is not just his 3-point shots, but his 3-point drawing fouls on a 3-pointer. I bet he probably holds the NBA record for the most three free throws out of after getting fouled on a 3-point attempt. I think the biggest trade that happened this week was the trade that didn't happen. Giannis from the Bucks not going anywhere. I thought he was destined for some teams. Obviously, the Bucks must have had a high wish list in order to move him. But I was really surprised that the Bucks didn't move him.
Yeah, probably over the offseason.
I was surprised at that too. John, the Washington Wizards were making some moves. Anthony Davis is coming to town. I mean, it's actually pretty crazy. Well, the Wizards have been terrible. We've only been relevant when Michael Jordan came around, and then for a few years after that. But then, gambling on airplanes and guns on airplanes just kind of took it all away for us, Gilbert Arenas and company. But I don't know. I mean, it feels like the Wizards finally made a trade that made sense, and they could potentially be a team that middles around and goes to the playoffs, which is kind of all we want.
When you trade for Anthony Davis this late in the season, you got a plan because the guy is going to play defense. You got a hole, you plug it. Always been an Anthony Davis fan. A lot of people don't like his offensive prowess, but a lot of the teams that he's been on, he improves them immediately. He's defensive minded. I think it's not only his defense, but he makes the teammates around him get more serious about it. That's number one. So look, I think the Wizards are an exciting team. And I think Davis is going to make them better. They're likely now to make the playoffs and, maybe steal around. I love what the Clippers did because here's my thing. I don't care what your franchise is. If you're going to do a rebuild, do a damn rebuild and do it. Just do it. Don't half-ass it. That's what pisses everybody off. Just do it. And the Clippers did that. The Minnesota Twins did that. If you're going to do a rebuild, get them out, get what you can, and tell your fans it's going to be a couple of seasons. Prepare them for it. I think the Clippers did that. But as you guys mentioned, and I see Al here said, our producer, Clippers will always be who they've always been, Lakers, baby. They play in their shadow. I don't think they're ever getting out of that. But I think that was the right move. As far as James Harden, very quickly, best season he had was when he was on the Rockets and Chris Paul ran the team and told him to shove it. And told him what to do, where to go, how to play.
Harden averaged 30 that season.
Chris Paul ran that team, and they had a. Here's why he got kicked out of the Rockets. They had a 3-2 lead over Golden State. Chris Paul got hurt. Harden had 2 bad games. They end up losing the final 2, fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh game. Harden was horrible, and that night. They find him at a club partying after they just got beat by the Lakers, and they were done with him. It's like it's not fair to the fans. If you just go home one night and cry in your beer, the guy, as great as he is, he doesn't win. He doesn't win anything, and so his legacy will always be: I never won anything. I never won a big game.
Unless he wins it all with Cleveland this year.
Not going to happen. Not going to happen.
Let's circle this thing back over to Dallas, Chris. A year ago, Dallas was one of the top premier franchises in all the land, all the NBA. Luka Doncic, just a 25-year-old super stud, mega star all across the world. let's trade him to the Lakers for Anthony Davis. Bring Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis gets hurt. Now he trades to the Wizards, and Dallas has now fired everybody involved with that. What was Dallas thinking? Was there any plan there? What went wrong? Debacle?
No, I don't think they were thinking at all. I think they were reacting, and that's a victim. The franchise is a victim of bad leadership and bad management. I mean, coach sees it every day in his profession or his coaching life. Some programs are going to win, some programs are going to implode, and it comes down to personnel, decision making. One of the guys at the local Starbucks I go to in the mornings was assistant coach under Doc Rivers for the Celtics when they won the title in 2008. And he coached a lot of college as well, head coach of a lot of college programs, good programs. And I asked him, I said, Coach, and I played basketball growing up. I said, tell me about the NBA these days. What am I not seeing that doesn't make it that appealing for the average right. sports fan? It's just there's a disconnect there. And he said, it's so fast and these guys are so smart and their ability and they're so good. You can't pick up on those nuances because the game is so fast. And just the way they pass the ball and the manner in which they get the ball to the shooter's hands, and they don't have room for error. And I think it comes down to a lot of these teams is that chemistry in the game that's built in practice. And I think that's one of the reasons why James Harden doesn't win and is not on winning teams. I just don't think he gets in the flow and chemistry with other players. It doesn't seem like he connects. And I went to the finals in 2012 when the Thunder were playing Miami. And that was a great young ball club. Westbrook, Durant, Harden. My God, they that was ridiculous. Loud City, right? But they had chemistry. And I think Oklahoma City Thunders have the chemistry. But when you blow up a franchise like Dallas has, you're not going to get that back for a while. And it takes several years. So you talk about rebuilds, trust the process, like the Sixers did. There's a chemistry because there's not that many people that are playing. They have to gel and be that good all the time. And I think that's what's standing out for me in Dallas. There's just a disconnect, and they're not building the chemistry necessary to win.
Yeah, I mean, and admittedly, I grew up. Like I said, I moved here. Pittsburgh didn't have a basketball team, so I was all Pittsburgh. But then I just fell in love with the Chicago Bulls, like a lot of us did. Followed the Bulls all the way through, and then Jordan goes to the Wizards. I live in Washington, and all of a sudden I'm a Wizards fan. But we've seen it firsthand here, where chemistry is obviously the thing that makes you better. Because the Wizards have had, even in the last few years, on paper, teams that should be good. But for whatever reason, and that's what the GMs in these leagues are just, paid the big bucks, because finding that chemistry and being able to build a championship team is tough in the NBA. Because when I coming from the outside and looking at a lot of these rosters, they all look pretty decent, and it's pretty crazy. But it would be neat to see if the Wizards do.
That's the salary cap, isn't it? That's part of the salary capping. That it's a soft one in the NBA, but nonetheless, you have to spread out your assets and the revenue. These guys make a lot of money on the contracts for shoes. I think Adidas played Harden like $200 million. I mean, let's be honest, they're okay. They're not struggling for paychecks, right? Yeah. So and when they can put aside the ego and the lack of incentive, it becomes a winning incentive versus playing for your future and your grandkids' tuition at colleges, and they're locked up if they manage their money well. So they have to have that fire and that chemistry to win. And that's why you get teams like Oklahoma City and San Antonio challenging every year. They're small market teams. That's impressive. And Oklahoma City is going to be around for a while, and that's gratifying to see from a sports fan's perspective.
You're listening to Godzilla Wins. I'm your host, Mitch Roger, joined by John Fredericks, Vince Mayoko, Trent Connor, Chris Saxman, and Logan Powell. Again, we are a gambling show, so if you have any issues with gambling at all, please keep 1-800-GAMBLER on your speed dial, 1-800-GAMBLER. The only reason I bring that up is because our next topic is about Guardians gambling allegations. So,
unbelievable.
Hey, we love the fact that everyone can gamble on all these apps. But when I was a kid, you could go to Atlantic City or you could go to Vegas. That was pretty much the only places you could go. I'm glad to have access because I know how to control myself, but some people don't. And even so, we've talked about this before. It seems like one of these scandals pops up once every 2 shows. While I was getting ready to talk about Class A and all of this, Yasiel Puig gets brought up into the news again from his gambling. I think he was trying to be the book rather than make the bets, or he wasn't throwing games. But the Class A and the Guardians thing looks like there was 84 times, 40 more than they thought. Vince, I'll let you start here. This cheating is getting a little bit out of hand. We thought these guys made a little too much money to ever be persuaded, but especially when they're coming from other countries, they're getting a lot of pressure it feels like from their home countries in some of these instances. The other one was a classic mob tale out of like Philadelphia and New Jersey, but we're starting to see more of the Puigs and stuff having to pay back people that helped get them there. Perhaps, I don't know what's going on.
I think last summer we discussed this when this story first broke. We talked about, especially with Puig obviously being a refugee from Cuba. He had his story how he got to the United States was pretty eye-opening, and it makes you wonder if it's a similar situation in the Dominican Republic, which Clase comes from. Clase was in the midst. I think he had another year on his contract. He had a 5-year deal worth $20 million.
Yeah,
and he was going to be a free agent. I mean, here's a guy, 3-time All-Star, 2-time American League reliever of the year. He was looking at a ginormous contract coming to him during free agency, and to just throw it all away is really sad. It really is. And it's even sadder if he felt he had to do all this because he was indebted to some people that we don't know. I'm sure we'll find out. But they suspected from 2023 to 2025, 48 suspected games and as many as possibly 250 pitches there where there was alarming sites where people were betting money. I think in two of these people that are being accused raked in like $460,000 by 2 gamblers alone involving Clase. So I think it's just the tip of the iceberg.
It would be, if there was any wherewithal, he'd be like, I'll just give you guys $500,000 every year,
exactly,
or something. I mean, I get it, and then get the feds involved, and then or something in that respect. Chris, this also comes down to Ortiz is involved, and then former Pirates pitcher, but it doesn't seem like he was involved. It doesn't seem like he was doing the same amount of games. It looked like his was in like a 10-game span in one season, and he's kind of lumped into this one. But overall, Chris, the integrity of the game, what needs to be done, let's solve it all right here.
You're going to have a hyper level of regulation on these contracts and these guys. I mean, I think to Vince's point about getting over your skis with people who might be nefarious actors, that's one thing. Plus, you also have the culture of the Dominican Republic, which has to come into understanding as well, and not necessarily from a pejorative standpoint, but just understanding it when you bring it into your clubhouse. And part of these contracts are going to be like, we're going to pay you this amount of money, but we're going to watch every dime that you spend. We're going to have constant communication with your bank accounts. We're going to watch your money to make sure that you don't jeopardize the entire brand, because this is not just on Clase and the DR. It's also on the Cleveland Guardians, because this wasn't the only instance. And if it is the tip of the iceberg, gentlemen, we got a serious problem with the sport writ large. You can't have prop betting on baseball or any other sports when you dangle this bait out there. Someone's going to bite at it, and it could tank the integrity of the game, and you don't want that. Look what happened to the Black Sox scandal. It's just it is brutal to the game. That's why Kennesaw Mountain Landis threw him out forever. You can't have this in the game. You just can't. Can you imagine doing a prop bet in hockey? What's the enforcement mechanism in hockey? They beat the crap out of you on the field, literally, and they let you go. And the referees go, they're going to have it at it for a while. Okay, boys, you're locked up. We'll come in and separate you two. But let me tell you, and Vince knows this, guys throw inside, and it's not pretty. And at those velocities, it gets really tight, and the clubhouses get damaged. And you're going to have to find a way to get hyper regulation on this stuff, so that they can't do this to the game, and more importantly themselves, because it is self-destructive, and we need to watch out for them long-term too.
Trent, how long do we have prop bets? I mean, ESPN is in bed. Obviously they own or sponsor a gambling entity now that they lost ESPN bet or whatever they're doing, but they're all in cahoots. Everyone's mixed in this. Journalistic integrity is on the line also, because how can you even report this story and then ESPN bet flies underneath underneath your name while you're reporting? But prop bets seem to be a problem.
Yeah, I actually published an article on this piece when it first broke, I think in June or July. And at the time it was a the bet was on Clase to throw a ball on the first pitch of the eighth inning, let's say, which they call it a micro bet. Why is that even an option to bet on? Because there you can't really get an edge like you can with a spread, or you can like get a number. I mean, that is essentially gambling
Yeah.
on, you know, and
Mhm.
and of course it got flagged because they're betting tens of thousands of dollars on this market that takes in maybe $2,000 because it's only open for a short period of time. So it's crazy that they even thought they could get away with this by betting that large of a number on such a bet. But yeah, I think they need to get rid of the micro bets. It totally. It's gambling.
It's bad
It
for the game.
doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's bad for the game, and it doesn't promote like a healthy betting infrastructure for just the regular everyday person because you should not be spending money and betting on those types of wagers.
Am I wrong in thinking that these are how my dad and my grandfather would say harebrained schemes? Logan, these seem like idiots that are putting these things together because in this day and age, with all the analytics we have and all the technology we have and algorithms and stuff, micro bets, you're going to get caught. So to me, it feels like what may nip this all in the bud is that it's just stupid to even try because you'll get caught and therefore not worth the risk down the line. I'm just maybe being optimistic. I don't know.
Yeah, especially with Coach Vince, he talked about how we talked about this last summer when it first brought up. If you look at some of those pitches that Clase was throwing, you could easily tell that he was doing that on purpose. Like it was just not even close to relatively a strike whatsoever. And when you're an elite pitcher, one of the top closers in the game, especially at one point, I mean, recent couple time All Star, you're not going to miss it that bad. And then for Ortiz, I think he would do his like the first pitch of the game sometimes. So like, it just looked very sketchy. And I think in the world where sports betting is everywhere. So one part of that is I feel like we are set up to catch it to a certain degree based off how much is being bet, how frequently. So I think most of the leagues are set up to catch it, and I think that for these two, especially Class A, I mean, they're probably gonna get the book thrown at them just as like they're gonna be used kind of for the MLB. Like this is what can happen if you do this. So I think they're gonna get the book thrown at them, especially Class A. I mean, he was doing this for a very long time, and I don't think he deserves to play another inning in the MLB. The same with Ortiz and whatever happens with Yasiel Puig. Not very sure what exactly that situation is. Need to read up more on that, but I think for Puig, that situation is very similar, just kind of showing a different aspect of the betting world. So we're kind of getting all of the different spectrums in terms of sports betting, and something needs to happen to slow this train down and not before it crashes it gets even worse.
You best believe it's going to be brought up in those Major League Baseball negotiations coming up at the end of this year too, John, right? What's your opinion on all this?
Well, it's destroying the game. And I kind of agree with everybody here, which is rare. I agree with Saxman. This is on Cleveland. This is a stain on their organization, whatever you want to call them, Guardians or something, whatever the ridiculous name of that team is. They've got issues here. How this was not picked up even by them. Chris, I'm sitting here thinking, what did the catcher think? I mean, you got a major league catcher,
right?
Calls a fastball for wants to get ahead of the hitter, right? Because he's coming in the eighth inning. You want to get ahead of that first hitter tight game. If it's not a tight game, he's not in, right? So, and then he throws a ball, he spikes it in the dirt, and you're like, what the hell was that? So, I mean, you think about the relationship with the catcher and how deep this gets and the fraud that went on and the deceit amongst your own teammates, your own players, your manager, your pitching coach. I mean, you throw a ball like that, the pitching coach is saying, what the hell, maybe I'll go out there, calm him down. And then you find out he did it on purpose. I mean, it destroys, it breaks and melts down every fabric of the game that we love. It just strips it down and it bears it into its most obscene form. And along with this obscene salary cap nonsense that we don't have, they are destroying the game. And look, this guy was making, $4 million a year. Like Vince said, he was going to get a gigantuan contract. I don't know. He sells out for, $200,000-$300,000. It's like chicken feed based on what these guys are making. There's something wrong. There's something fundamentally wrong here. And the fact that the Guardians didn't pick up on it. Now, look, I love my team. Everybody knows that. I am a diehard Astro fan. We have a culture. And I love Framber. I love watching him pitch. I love the ground balls. There's so many things about him I love, right? But when he crossed that catcher up, that rookie catcher, and that ball hit him in the chest, and he did that on purpose, and he did it on purpose.
Yeah.
Right? And said to me, who's an equal fan as me, said, he'll never pitch for us again. The team will not allow that. You have a culture. Altuve and them, they knew what he did. They knew he threw at that catcher. He could have hurt him. A rookie catcher, And but it's coupled with the fact he lost 9 out of the 10 final games of the season, why we got bounced from the playoffs. But he did that. You got a culture on that team. You're never playing for us again, dude. Hit the road. Go sign with the Tigers. Go back with Hinch, who was banging garbage cans. You guys are made for each other. So it's sucking the game. It's sucking it dry, and it's disgusting. And these guys, they should get the book thrown at them. I mean, look what they did to Pete Rose. Pete Rose got on a rotary phone in a hotel, dials 9 to get out.
At least he was betting on winning.
And bet every night on his team to win.
Win. That's a
to win. I want $2,000 on my team every night to win. That's what he got banned for. Like, I'll take 100 Pete Roses other than these clowns. So
can I jump in here?
This is ridiculous.
I want to give you a baseball coaching perspective, because people will say, hey, it's just one pitch. One pitch doesn't mean that much. But I'm coming from a baseball coaching perspective. The two most important counts that a pitcher has to win is the 0-0 count and the 1-1 count. The difference between a batting average of a 1-0 count versus an 0-1 or a 2-1 versus a 1-2 is gigantic. So think, I'm just going to spike one in the ground and collect some money. Well, guess what? Now you made that hitter that's hitting 230 into a 335 hitter, because now he's sitting on a 1-0 fastball. Okay, so that's the element. So the thing about it's just a pitch. It does not it changes the whole complexion of the at bat, which ultimately can determine the winner or loser of that game.
And to pick up on what Coach and John are talking about, having been a catcher, the catcher-pitcher relationship is sacrosanct. You have to be in such rhythm with your pitcher to be on the same page on every single pitch, and you're so locked in because those guys are throwing so hard. It is dangerous, and you have to trust that pitcher, and he has to trust you implicitly. And to screw up that catcher, that lost the season for the Astros.
Yep.
You look at their record afterwards. That just literally tanked the entire season.
Tanked the season. Thank you.
Tanked the season for his ego, because he didn't listen to the catcher to step off the rubber and take a beat, and he threw a what do you hang a slider or something on the guy, and he lost a grand slam. And that's one thing. But then to cross him up and intentionally throw it right at his chest at that speed, no. Those guys like that should be run out of the league. They shouldn't be signed for $100 million at the time.
Damn right.
You're listening to the Godzilla Wins Show. We're bringing in those takes hot today. It's a slow build-up. We know we got the Winter Olympics. We know we got the Super Bowl to talk about. We also got the Wellness Company. And their emergency kit is absolutely phenomenal. It's got all the hottest ones, the ivermectins, all the ones that have been all over the news for the last 3 or 4 years. All one kit, John.
Got the flu? No more. Contagion kit. Hey, Saxman and I going to Iowa next week. Right now, understand, Saxman, the weather there is like gorgeous. So I don't know. We dodged a bullet, because when we were supposed to go, it was minus 25. Now it's supposed to be 50. So we kind of dodged a bullet. But we're going on the bus. Saxman and I can be hanging out. We got a contagion kit here, and I had a little thing that's got the nebulizer, It's got the nasal spray, ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, Z-Pack, Saxman or Larry, our driver. We get sick, boom. We take out our contagion kit. We nip it in the bud. We're good to go. I also put a couple bottles of little bottles of Grey Goose vodka in here just in case things get really desperate. So we got that too. You got to add those. You can't get it, but got to get your contagion kit. Don't be suffering from the flu, and don't get those stupid shots either. God knows what's in those vaccines. I would never touch those. I got one of those for COVID, never get another one. Finally got it out of my system. Bad news. You want to get your contagion kit, and you get 10% off. Every family should have this, Vince. Everybody, especially for your players, Vince, you should get one of these just in case, your star pitcher goes down or that guy you're trying to ship off to Maryland, he gets sick. You got a big game coming up. You got to nip in the bud, dude. So all you got to do is go to twc.health/Godzilla, twc.health/Godzilla, promo code Godzilla, 10% off. And just a special mention to Coach Vince, who called into the Steve Saban show the other day. Don't be sending your best players to WVU, okay? Don't do that, man. Come on. Send them to Maryland. We need the players. Saban's got all the money. He doesn't need any more good players. Send them to us. Send them to Coach Swope. He'll be happy to have them. Don't be sending to Saban. That pissed me off. What?
I felt like I was in like some kind of recruiting violation, some sort of nil transfer recruiting violation while we were on the air, but I loved every second.
I mean, we're on the air. This is after he texted Joe and said, hey, I got this guy. He's a sleeper. You got to give him to Maryland. Give him to Coach Swope, blah, blah, blah. Right, text Joe. Joe goes to Swope, shows him the text, right? Then he's on the air and he says, hey, Coach, I got this sleeper guy from, he'd be great. I'm like, what? I thought we had first dibs.
I do love that I am now. I'm
also as an agent. I'm getting NIL back. That might be I just might have put ourselves on probation right there. I don't know. Maybe
none of this is all tongue in cheek. This is all tongue in cheek. But that was pretty cool. Like just with Saban's on there, you guys talking about the Taft recruiting train. I hope they all need to go to West Virginia. And by the way, Chris, I don't know if you know this or not, but now I'm an honorary member of the Virginia gang because I got to sneak into your house. Now
they want you back. They want you back on the Virginia.
I said I'm in Warrenton, Virginia. Everybody, hey.
I know you're for a Virginia gang, right? So, and then he interviews Saban's, and after the interview. Of course, he's asking like WV questions like, how good's your team going to be? Are you going to go to Omaha? He's asking all the nice questions. I'm asking him hard stuff. He's asking all the softball questions. So the thing's over. Saban's like, when Kellogg called me, I mean, it's not 2 seconds. The thing's over. Saban's calls me, says, I love that guy. He should do all the interviews.
Oh, dude.
I love that guy. He's the best guy you got.
I was so nervous. You know what? And I will talk about it on the top. It's our year anniversary of the West Virginia site, and that was the first major coach because Trent's always with Trent and Logan get to interview people all the time. But this is the first coach I got to interview. I've been part of the press conferences and stuff, but that was cool. And then I was nervous, and I saw Vince was calling, and I took all the nerves away. I knew I had some support out there. That was fantastic. We're about to get to the top of this hour. We are going to talk some Winter Olympics. We have to. I had the privilege. My daughters are 10 and 7 years old, and I got to watch the opening ceremonies last night with them, and it just brought floods of memories back for me from the 84 and the 88 Olympics when I was a kid and I was there at similar ages, and I'm very excited. Winter Olympics is bringing the hockey, is bringing the NHL players this time around, Chris. That's why we can't give any hockey picks because we don't have any games until Wednesday. Are you excited about the NHL being in the mix?
Not really, not per se. I mean, am I looking forward to Olympic hockey? Yeah, I'm looking forward to Olympic hockey. Am I excited because the NHL is a part of it? Not really. I've never been a fan of the pro players playing in the Olympics, whatever sport. I think it diminishes amateur athletics. But the Olympics long ago made that decision, and here we are. It's very disruptive to the season. So what? It happens to other leagues and other professions. I'm excited for the Winter Olympics because it's the Winter Olympics, and I love the sports that we don't get to see every day, like luge and skeleton and doubles luge. And that's crazy. Some of the sports you get a little far afield. I've never been a fan of like rhythmic gymnastics and it's just It's like they're trying to find participation trophy sports for kids out there, right? And it's just, baseball is not even in the Olympics. And it's like, come on, what are you talking about here? I mean, put in some real other sports in the Summer Olympics. Before I get on a real rant here,
Let's go. No, wait, we're ending the first hour on a hot take.
What's next? Pickleball. We're gonna have pickleball. We're gonna have pickleball in the Summer Olympics soon enough. I guarantee it.
But what if they bring the pro pickleball players in? You won't even be in. So hey, should the professional?
It's not a sport on television. It's like cornhole. Why would you watch this? There's nothing there. Curling. At least I can drink beer to curling.
Before I depart, I'm leaving in 2 minutes. Here's my take on the Olympics. The IOC should have included the Russian hockey team in this tournament. And I don't care what you're putting. We are being deprived of seeing Malkin, Ovechkin. I'm telling you, Team Russia would be a legitimate team in that gold medal search between Canada and the U.S. And I think they're depriving. I mean, who cares? Throw another jersey, put them at the international team. But we needed Ovechkin, Malkin, and that whole host of goalies that the Russians have. And it's a shame they're not.
Them and Belarus can form a little squad together. Hey, we got some hot takes. We're going to end this hour, come back in the second hour. Super Bowl. We're going to talk about it. Some more hockey as well. All that and much more. You're listening to Godzilla.
There's no hockey.
There's Olympic hockey.
What is that? I can't bet that.
And we can also just talk about how cool it is.
You can bet the Olympics. Can't you bet the Olympics?
I don't bet the Olympics. There's a 3-week break. Like 3 weeks. What is it? That's like a month.
Can you imagine the prop bets on curling? My God.
All right, producer, pull up the
U.S.
prop
took
bets on
down
curling.
Canada last night in curling.
Ooh. All right, we're back.
We're
after this break, fellas.
West Virginia Sports Nation gives you a top-of-the-mountain view of the Mountaineers sports landscape. See what's happening in all the sports, far beyond football, basketball, and baseball. Gymnastics, track and field, rowing, swimming and diving, golf, volleyball, tennis. More sports, more stories. If the Mountaineers play the game, WVSportsNation.com has it covered. Up-to-date and insightful articles written by Mountaineers for Mountaineers Nation. WVSportsNation.com. WVSportsNation.com. WVSportsNation.
The best part about waking up in the morning is a great cup of coffee, and I get this every day with my 1775 coffee. It's rich, it's bold, best tasting coffee I've ever had. Single origin, farmed in Bolivia, 7,000 feet. It's always fresh, roasted daily. This is the best coffee you're ever going to get. Go to 1775coffee.com, 1775coffee.com. Promo code Godzilla, 10% off. It's going to make your day every day.
You woke up with a sore throat and a low-grade fever. You know you are getting sick, so here's your choices. You can get sicker and miss work. Try to see a doctor this week or sit hours in a crowded waiting room at urgent care.
I have a smarter option for you. Open your medical emergency kit. Match your symptoms to doctor-recommended prescription in your booklet and take the right meds now and get well faster.
This is not a first aid kit. It's like having an urgent care in your home. It includes doctor-prescribed medications to treat over 39 medical issues like respiratory infections, strep throat, pneumonia, UTIs, and more.
No waiting to see the doctor and no standing in line at the pharmacy. It's right here.
Every home should have at least one medical emergency kit, and here's how to order.
Order online fast and save $45. Your kit with prescriptions to treat common and life-saving illnesses is rushed to your door. Visit twc.health/Godzilla. Promo code Godzilla. That's twc.health/Godzilla. Promo code Godzilla.
John Fredericks, your Godzilla of truth, fiercely independent.
No ties to Wall Street, I promote Main Street.
The John Fredericks Media Network, privately owned and operated, on top of the issues on air and online.
Trucking the truth every day for 14 years.
The John Fredericks Show drives your morning, weekdays 6 to 10 a.m. Eastern. The only independent White House correspondent with live reports from the White House. Hit JohnFredericksRadio.com. Watch at JFMN.tv. John Fredericks, your Godzilla of truth.
Who's going to stop me now?
Nobody. John Fredericks, he's America's Godzilla of truth. All week long, he's world-renowned for his proficient proclivity to prophesy the people's political picks with pinpoint precision.
Yeah, baby.
Then, on the weekends, he gets with the guys that are pretty wise, and Godzilla wins. Godzilla wins, the sports picking show for winning dough. Money lines, parlays, over-under, the best plays. You choose the game, Godzilla picks the winners. Get expert analysis, exclusive insights, and have a little fun. When the game is on your mind and money's on the line, Godzilla Wins is your guide to picking winners. Godzilla Wins, on the screens of your TV and favorite devices, commanding radio airwaves far and wide. Before you make that play, hear what the Godzilla crew has to say. Presented by WestVirginiaSportsNation.com, it's time for Godzilla Wins, all across the John Fredericks Media Network. Oh yeah.
For entertainment purposes only.
Welcome to Godzilla Wins. First hour was great. Bringing on the second hour, it's going to a lot of Winter Olympics, some Super Bowl, of course. I'm your host, Mitch Rogers, Trent Connor, Logan Powell, John Fredericks. We bring in Brendan Statler. Welcome to the show. A fun one. It was a fun first hour there, Brendan. We started talking about, of course, gambling and gambling scandals, and then whether or not amateur athletes should be the only ones allowed in the Olympics. All the hot takes here. But I want to start off with the Olympics. It was pretty special. Like I mentioned before, I watched the opening ceremonies with my family, with my daughters. There's just something amazing about it. There's the pomp and circumstance and the pageantry, and obviously in Milan and Cortana, it's just there's so much culture, and the opening ceremony was beautiful for the most part. If you just can erase the Mariah Carey part where she lip synced her way through that god awful performance. It doesn't make any sense. Mariah Carey has no Italian roots in her. I don't even understand why she was there, but I digress. We have an awesome Olympics that is just starting. It's on time delay. They're 7 hours out. I don't know. I'll pass around the panel. Like, what's your preference? Are you watching the medal count as it goes? Are you waiting until 8 o'clock to watch it all together as a family? I don't know. Logan, what's your thoughts on the Olympics? I mean, you're only, what are you, 23? I mean, this is only, how many Olympics is it for you? Like 2?
Not that, a little more than that, like 4 or 5, I think. I love the Olympics, especially, I think I prefer the Summer Olympics over the winter, but the winter is pretty fun because you have way more sports that you don't even know what they are. Like all like the skeletons and the luges and the bobsleds, and even throwing the curlings, like you really don't know what those are. Like when you're watching curling, you really know what's going on. Not really. You just watch someone sweeping the ice. But overall, I mean, as the Winter Olympics go on, I'm definitely keeping up with it 24/7. Like I've become one of the most patriotic, hurrah USA as person you met during the Olympics. Like I love the Olympics. I love keeping up. I love watching, storylines. Like Lindsey Vonn, 40 years old, no ACLs, trying to make a comeback. And then I forget their name, but they're like the number 2 figure skating team in the world. They're an American duo. They just got married like last summer. There's all kinds of storylines that you can look at, and really, honestly, the Olympics give unheard athletes and unheard sports a platform that they never really get. So I think that also is pretty cool to see, and you also can see what sports and what countries, what countries kind of like highlight certain sports. Like what do they really hit home at in their country? Like for U.S., obviously, it's football, it's baseball, it's basketball, but for something like a Denmark or Netherlands, like they're really, really good at speed skating. Not many people know that unless you watch the Olympics and hear the announcer say it. So I just think it brings new things to the spotlight, which is always a good thing.
And Brendan, it could bring unity, right? I mean, in this world that we live in right now, and everyone's just stuck in their phones.
So we doing this?
Yeah, it's a unifying thing for the world, Chris. Every 4 years, this is what it's meant for, right? I know it's supposed to be about.
This is why we keep Russia out, for God's sake.
Brings us all together.
Which is ridiculous to keep Russia out. By the way, I agree with Coach Vince. It's ridiculous.
Well, I mean, I just want them in for hockey. I don't need them doped up trying to win, the skiing jump competitions. I mean, have you seen the documentary of their doping scandal in Sochi? It is insane, the levels that they go to. I don't know if they should ever touch another Olympics. But Brendan, I feel it brings the world together, and we need some of that.
I think that it should, but seeing let's call it the political climate, especially in our country, I don't think much is bringing us together, unfortunately. But maybe one day we'll get there. But yeah, I mean, I love the Olympics. That is a time where we should all be unified. You're pulling for your country, and it's a great thing. I mean, your team USA. It's not like professional sports where we're cheering for a city. We're cheering for the entire nation, and that's a great thing. I think it makes it way more exciting to pull for your nation.
Trent, you're always into the analytics. I mean, what are we thinking? Are you looking at the men's snowboard? I mean, the luge, ski jumps. We got all sorts of stuff stuff today. Where do you come into the Olympics? Is it a nostalgia thing? Or are you kind of looking at it from an individual sport perspective? What are you doing?
Yeah, I don't bet the Olympics. I mean, if I see something, I might get an edge, maybe.
That's the whole
But
segment. I had those 10 minutes of bets on the Olympics.
well, yeah, the storyline I'm most interested in is Lindsey Vonn. 41 years old, torn ACL, out there ending without downhill skiing. I love watching skiing personally. When it comes to the Winter Olympics, ice hockey, obviously. I was watching the women's ice hockey team beat up on that Republic yesterday. That was a fun game to watch. That. And the ski jumping is what really entertains me. I'm a skier. I barely go off jumps like going down a trail. I don't know how these guys do that.
Yeah, Trent, your mic's coming in a little bit low right now. Chris, talking about a no ACL, and in what Trent just brought up, being a skier too. I mean, I've snowboarded a few times, and I could not imagine going up a half pipe and flying like the tomato, whatever he was, flying around in circles. But no ACL. So this is really cool. Like my 10-year-old daughter was asking me how that's physically possible, and I was trying to tell her that I was like, hey, when it's happened in like a basketball game and stuff. The athletes can walk straight, like they can walk off the court, but you can't go laterally. That knee cannot bend. So I was trying to explain in layman's terms that the knee brace that she's going to be using is going to be insane, where it's going to restrict that knee from going left to right as much as possible, and the fact that she probably squats more than any woman athlete in the Olympics. Her leg strength is helping her, Chris. But I mean, perspective, you're a catcher, ACLs. My Lord, I mean, how are you going down? How are you the number one skier in the world going down?
You might not like betting on the Olympic sports, but this one will bring some prop bets. Will she make it down the hill in her first run? Will she make it? Well, I mean, oh man, that's. I mean, everyone's like, "Oh, this is a gutsy performance." I'm like, it's suicide, but go ahead. Lindsey Vonn's a hell of an athlete. Shares my birthday. Hat tip to Lindsey Vonn and her
what's your are you
October 18th.
October 18th. What is it? What's your sign?
What's it? Libra. So the balance is off here. We balance the scale.
Oh, that's your problem. Now I get it.
Mm-hmm. That's not my problem. That's my being.
Same difference.
Have fun in Iowa. Call it in. That's my.
I'm gonna be packing heat, baby. Packing heat, and it's not a gun.
Yeah, I know. The women's. I think overall, I mean, take a step back. Olympics to Olympics. I prefer the Winter Olympics to the Summer Games.
I agree.
Really?
I think sport for sport, it is far more interesting. It's faster. Because it's so different in our dailiness, we get to see all these different sports, but when you get to see luge for the first time or bobsledding, you get locked in, right? And you get to root for your home team. That's pretty cool. And there's no delineation between, I don't like that athlete, I don't like that athlete for what they do in the pro game or whatever. But when you lock into, I think it was Trent's point about, or maybe it was Logan's point about rooting for your home country. That is a very unifying experience for our country. And to see American athletes perform at that level is really, really cool, especially when you don't know them, right? You're just rooting for your team. It's like when Aaron Rodgers came to the Steelers. He's my guy now, right?
Yeah,
but
right. Yeah.
Every athlete in the Olympics is your athlete, and you get to root them on. You get to learn about their stories, and it just makes it a lot more fun. There's a lot less bias. Because you're just rooting for your team, right? You're not rooting against anybody, right? Unless it was the Soviet hockey team, which we all hated growing up. And then for the young kids who don't know the story about that, didn't get to witness it in real time. It was an extraordinary moment in not just Olympic history, but American history. And it really did change the face of the times. Because we were in desperate economic, political times in the late 70s. And that was it lit such a fire for the 80s. It was an amazing accomplishment. because we understood the context.
Well, and it feels like when I was younger, and obviously it's because now there's so many platforms and so many media outlets, but figure skating was unbelievable when we were in the 90s and the late 80s. I mean, obviously from the Tanya Harding, Nancy Kerrigan, Jeff Gillooly story, Oksana Bayul winning, to Katarina Witt gracing Playboy, being one of the hottest women on the planet when I was like 12 years old.
Lindsey Vonn.
Lindsey Vohn's up there as well, but she's not in a little skirt.
She's not unattractive. She's not unattractive.
But John, like one of my core memories is like the 90 games. I can't remember, or 88 games. Just watching figure skating with my family, and that always like figured that always started the Olympics. Now it's kind of the ski and the snowboard events, but that seemed like that always started the Olympics, and then it went from there. And figure skating is something a 10-year-old boy shouldn't like, but it is something that you get to learn it from your parents, and the grace and the elegance, and I don't know, I enjoy all of it, even the figure skating.
Listen, it's fun, it's patriotic. You want the USA to win medals, you want to root for our players, and if you really understand, the layman doesn't, but those of us that are around athletics know that the unbelievable commitment and work you have to do to get there from the time you're 12, 13 years old, even younger than that sometimes, is unbelievable. I mean, it is just an enormous commitment, and then finally you make it there, so you root for those young people there, those young Americans. And look, the purpose of the Olympics, as somebody brought up earlier, was to, I think it was to bring the world together. Doesn't really do that now, but so I just want to win medals for us. And J.D. Vance goes over there, and the first time he steps out there, he gets roundly hissed and booed. So I'm not sure you're bringing anything together. So now it's like, okay, you want to boo our vice president, now screw you, we're just going to win all the medals, right? That's the easiest thing to do.
I think I know where the next round of tariffs is going, John.
I mean, look, I just don't want any. It was sad when you had when you had the U.S. women's soccer team that wouldn't stand for the Star Spangled Banners, whatever they were doing. That just made me sick, and that kind of turned me off to the whole thing. But hopefully this will be better. Hopefully we'll win a lot of medals. I do want to give a shout out to Brendan Statler. I just got to do this because Ann and I said this yesterday. We had a client, Rocky Simmons from Vision Homes, right? One of our bigger clients, text me last night. He said, "Hey, I'm short 2 tickets for Sunday's men's game. Can you get them to me?" Like, I'm in Washington, D.C., right? So I'm like, no, I call Pasqua. So I call Pasqua, says, Brendan's got 2 tickets, but he's like an hour and 50 minutes away. So we find out last night that Pasqua's boss called Statler, and Statler's driving up Sunday to meet Rocky with his tickets to get him there. And I'm telling you, Brendan, in this company, that's what we're looking for. That is going to get you ahead. That has not gone unnoticed, and Ann and I value that. So thank you for doing that for our client and our friend Rocky. Thank you. That's what we're
going to win.
That's what we're looking for, baby.
Big time players make big time plays.
Make big time plays, baby. That's it.
Players, and that's going to be the push
on a Sunday. On a Sunday.
I don't want to disrupt the flow here, but if you had one medal, a gold medal for the Americans to win in the Winter Olympics, what would it be?
Skiing.
Which one?
Downhill.
My girls, I come downstairs this morning and it's 7 a.m. and they're watching in real time because it's a 7-hour delay. And they're just like, well, this sucks. And it was cross country skiing. They're like, this looks easy. I was like, you can't even walk up the hill. That looks easy. But yeah, I don't know. I mean,
you should try it.
I feel like snowboarding, because we've kind of brought that into the fold, and now they have Canadians and people take that away. But I know it's not but figure skating is huge when the United States can actually win it, because it doesn't happen very often. I don't know. Go around the horn. What do you guys think? Look, what do you think?
Yeah, I think I don't know, skateboarding, because it's definitely the coolest and most known, and I just think overall it's the best, the coolest vibes to win. Kind of like skateboarding for the Summer Olympics. So either that or speed skating, because it just looks really cool as well.
It does look cool. The skeleton, Trent. What's your favorite? What would make you the most proud to be an American?
Do I sound better? by the way?
Yes, you do. Yes.
Okay, perfect. I mean, ice hockey. Obviously, men's ice hockey would be the.
Oh yeah,
We
yeah.
take that
And,
on
oh my
as
God,
a
what a
big deal.
great! What a, if go on Netflix. That documentary about the Miracle on Ice is phenomenal, Brendan. Hockey, that's a good one. Where are you going?
Oh, hockey for sure. That's
Yeah.
my favorite sport, as you guys know. And I love that the NHL players are back in it for the first time since 2014. They should have never taken that away. I know there's always a debate if it should be
Don't get Chris going.
yeah, if it should be amateur athletes, but I love it. It's like the the big dream team that you had with the NBA years ago. It makes it more exciting.
All right, John, besides curling, which sport would make you most proud for the United States to don a medal for?
Figure skating.
Yeah, I'm with that.
Figure skating.
How about hockey?
I mean, it's
hockey
it's
beat,
the most
beat
beautiful,
Canada in
elegant.
overtime.
I mean, hockey doesn't matter now because of NHL players. If you went back to college players or amateur players, I would say hockey. But now you got professional players playing against professional players. If I want to do that, I'll watch Rangers Canadians, right? So I lose interest in it as soon as they put in the regular NHL players. And if you go back to hockey lore, there was no, you remember when basketball, right, was just amateur players, and that game that the Soviets won where they called a timeout and they had no timeouts and the clock ran out and they didn't run out. Remember that? And then of course,
72.
Miracle on Ice. They've made several movies about it. I mean, that was just an amazing run, that whole thing. But now with the NHL players in it, who cares? So
Well, why? Look, so I think we've forgotten the Sochi games. I mean, TJ Oshie. I mean, that was so much fun, and beating Russia
Single-handedly beating the Russians, and
right. And I mean, Oshie just like, oh no, that's when he did the Caps one. Yeah, I'm getting him conflated, but yeah, that was fun. I'm excited. I am super excited. You know what? Also, you should be excited about if you live in this Northern Virginia area. When it's this cold out, 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, you could walk into Rosie's at any time, John.
Especially now with no hockey to bet. I don't know what the hell I'm going to do. I don't bet basketball, so like whatever. So we're going to Rosie's as soon as I get back from Iowa. First stop, Rosie's in Dumfries, baby. Let's go. Look, win money, have fun, bigger jackpots, bigger payouts, lowest take, different kind of casino. If you really want to have fun and have a good time and really win some money and just it's an enjoyable experience, you got to go to Rosie's. They're all over Virginia, from Vinton and Roanoke to Hampton to Richmond to New Kent, where the track is. We got our suite there coming up when they open. We got all that going on. Dumfries in Northern Virginia. You got Danville area. It's all there. Emporia coming right up from North Carolina up. What was that? 95, I think, right?
Yeah.
So all good to go. And just go to rosiesgaming.com. rosiesgaming.com. It's a new kind of casino. It's fun. There's no smoke. They don't pump oxygen in. I tell you the other thing, it's clean. You can eat off the floor. They're cleaning that thing constantly when you're there. Vacuums are going constantly. Always clean, always clean, always clean. And there's a restricted smoking area, so you're not sitting there on machines and people, drag smoking camels. My God. Oh, in Virginia.
Worst.
Lucky strikes. I mean, yuck. So all that's gone. Go to rosiesgaming.com. rosiesgaming.com.
All right. I might head there. It is cold, and I have the whole day. My ladies are all leaving me today. I don't know what I'm going to do. I have a whole day to myself. Maybe Rosie's is in play. Okay, this feels like it's been just a slow build-up. I know you're like, whoa, there's a Super Bowl tomorrow. There's an NFL game happening tomorrow, and we are talking about Oksana Bayul. All right, we're going to move on. We are moving towards the NFL. Still slowly getting to that Super Bowl. The NFL Honors Awards came out. The best one for me was obviously Coach of the Year, which John, of course, I mean, he agrees with 100% totally. But there was just a beautiful, I talk about my daughters a lot. Matthew Stafford has 4 lovely daughters, a lovely wife. They announced his MVP award in the cutest fashion ever. It was his kids telling him he won the MVP. And Matt Stafford, wow, what a season he had, Logan. It like from A to Z. I mean, he just wrote it down. He had maybe a bad game against Seattle, perhaps, but he just well deserved, and from a guy that was almost going to retire to start the year to MVP, pretty impressive, right, Logan?
Oh yeah, major back issues, injuries at the beginning of the year. Older, 38 years old, just became the oldest MVP, first-time MVP. So yeah, he's had a very long, distinguished career. And if it's over after this season, so be it. He's gonna be one of the greats, but I don't think so. I think he'll be back. But yeah, before the year started, we weren't even sure if Stafford was gonna be playing for the Rams or anyone at all. And come to find out, he plays and has one of his best, if not his best year of his career. Leads the Rams to almost the Super Bowl, just a couple of plays away. You need to get that special teams figured out, and they'll be right back. But they locked down McVay, they locked down their GM, and I think if you can lock down Stafford for another year or two, we saw what he's capable of. I don't think he's missed a beat whatsoever. So I think if you can lock him down for another year or two, you're going to see the Rams possibly in the Super Bowl once again. Stafford is one of the greats. Beautiful family. Questionable choice on the girls' names. Kind of sounds like he picked all boys' names. Maybe he was hoping to get all boys. And
we did that too. We did that too. Rylan was the
really?
Yeah, we like them. Harper. You know.
I mean Harper's kind of 50-50. But overall, beautiful family. Really great role model for the NFL, for everyone included. I just think he's a picture-perfect guy. I mean, overall, great career, great guy, great father, great husband. Just overall good.
Brendan, I'm going to let you jump into Jonathan Edwards' shoes real quick. Jonathan Edwards is our editor at WVSportsNation.com, but he's also a Patsy. A Pats fan. Sorry. I wrote that down wrong. I wrote that down.
I like it.
But Brendan,
Did you?
Matthew Stafford beat Drake May. Was there any Drake May consideration in your corner?
Oh, Drake May would have been my pick. And, as all of you know, I'm a diehard Steelers fan. We usually hate the Patriots. But, not that Matthew Stafford was undeserving by any stretch of the imagination. But
usually.
Always. But if I had my pick, I would have picked Drake May. I mean, just think about this for a minute. Trent, what did the Patriots win last year? 3-4 games? Something like that?
Yeah, 4 games, 8 games the last 2 seasons.
Okay, so 8 games the last 2 seasons. So in Drake May's second year, he takes a 4-win team to the Super Bowl as the number 2 seed in the AFC. The New England Patriots don't even make the playoffs without Drake May. So, I mean, I think that says a lot. I mean, of course, you can make the same argument with Stafford that they wouldn't have even made the playoffs without, or the Rams wouldn't have made the playoffs without Stafford. But it's just going from where they were the last 2 seasons to the Super Bowl automatically. I mean, it's hard to make an argument against Drake May. And I know it was a tight vote. Stafford only won by 1 vote. But I think I would have given it to Drake May.
Chris, any issues with the MVP?
No, I mean it sounds like a coin toss for the voters. Coin toss for the voters, not a toin cost. It should be crickets. Matthew Stafford's come a long way from being a high school catcher.
For
Clayton Kershaw.
Yeah, it comes.
They were classmates in Highland Park High School in Dallas, Texas, which is an extraordinary. I mean, it's a pretty good class, right? Class of 2006. Highland Park High School, Clayton Kershaw, and some
like Randy Moss
in the
and Jason Williams, baby.
Yeah. Oh my God, can you imagine that basketball and the football team? Apparently, didn't Jason Williams win the state player of the year over Randy Moss?
Yes.
in football. Yes. Anyway, I think Matthew Stafford had a great year. I think there's an East Coast bias that's implicit when we look at, because we see the Patriots play more often than the Rams. But Stafford's had a great career, had a great season, and Drake May is going to have a lot more great seasons ahead of him. Probably at the Patriots, probably with Mike Vrabel as the coach. So good on him. And I thought Stafford had a great presentation in the accepting the award, which is great. I mean, it's tough to argue with these kinds of awards. It really is.
The MVP. Yeah, you what's the definition? If you remove the player, how many team games would you win? Trent, am I crazy? And I know it has to go to a quarterback because that's just the way the universe makes it. Am I crazy to think that the man that won Comeback Player of the Year should be MVP? And Christian McCaffrey, if he's not on San Francisco 49ers, they don't sniff the playoffs. They don't sniff a playoff victory. I don't know. I mean, I know Stafford's deserving, but McCaffrey to me is MVP.
Yeah, I don't think that's crazy at all. I'd like to see the award go to a running back at some point in the future. Like I mean, Saquon, I think should have won it last year.
Yeah.
But
I thought he did.
no, I think it was Josh Allen.
No, I'd have given
Yeah,
it to I'd have given it to Bijan Robinson. So I kind of agree with you guys. But look, Drake May is going to be around for a long time. He'll have plenty more opportunities. I think that the Stafford thing was just wonderful. These guys, such a wonderful fellow. He was really a nice guy when he was on Georgia. Never says a bad word about anybody. Wonderful family. And the guy did, like, if you take him out of the Rams and you say, would the Rams have gotten within 2 minutes of the Super Bowl? The answer is no. So Drake May, I don't know. I don't really follow the Patriots, but I was just happy to see him win. But you're right. I mean, we're in this quarterback now where if you don't have a quarterback, you can't win, and they always get the MVP. So it'd be nice to see something else. Yes.
All right. Well, why we got you? Mike Vrabel wins Coach of the Year. He goes.
Deserved that. I mean, he took a team from 4 wins to the Super Bowl. I mean, to me, that vote should have been unanimous. There's nobody can touch that. What he's done with that team is not. I've never seen a turnaround like that. I mean, they could win the Super Bowl. I don't think they are, but they can go from a 4-win season to a Super Bowl winner in one season. And it's not like, he came in and they had a bunch of injuries and like 8 guys came back. They restocked the team, and they got Drake May where he is today. They have a defensive scheme that is very, very formidable. And so, yeah, is he Coach of the Year? Absolutely.
Jackson Smith and Jigba, he wins Offensive Player of the Year. We're going to see exactly why tomorrow night, Super Bowl. We're going to get to that. We're leading into it. The Hall of Fame.
It's the biggest lead-in ever in the history of any
Don't
show.
you love it? I mean, I just, do we have 30
minutes? Biggest tease, like a 1 hour and 50-minute tease. It's pretty good how you've done that.
I'm trying to. All right, so the Hall of Fame induct. So yesterday, I just went down a rabbit hole. After my tough week, I just started to get on these reels and watching these Hall of Famers get told that they're in the Hall of Fame. It just brings tears to your eyes. And like Larry Fitzgerald getting told by Randy Moss that he's going to the Hall of Fame was just so endearing. And I mean, Luke Kuechly, he walks in, and it was just, I love those moments. Roger Craig finally gets in. I don't know if it's deserved or not, and it might not be, but
who cares?
What do you mean?
Who cares if you grew up? Roger Craig was like the guru. The guy was pitching. How old was he when he was out there pitching? Chris, 50? What was the guy? Was 50 years old or something? I mean,
no,
he didn't throw his fastball was 84. I mean, the guy had no.
John, we're over here, John. We're talking football.
Oh, okay.
Not
sorry.
Roger Craig. Not Roger Craig, the coach.
I thought you meant the coach.
No, the running back of the Niners. Yeah, no. So
Niners. Okay.
He's like the
wait till he jumps on the difference between Joe and Phil Necro. That's going to be a fun rant.
That's going to be good.
I love Joe Necro.
No, but Hall of Fame. Any reaction to the Hall of Famers in there, Chris? Obviously, the controversy we went over. Bob Kraft does not get in.
So it was who was it? Roger Craig and Larry Fitzgerald, and who else?
Drew Brees.
Yeah, Drew Brees gets in.
Look,
Adam Vinatieri.
Here's the thing about, we always talk about whether so and so should or should not have gotten in. If they got in, they deserved it. Let's not take that away from them. Right. When a collective group of people who are in charge of making these decisions say that guy gets in, that legitimizes the Hall of Fame. That's the whole purpose of it. Not getting in can be controversial. L.C. Greenwood, I think he is highly underrated for his career with the Steelers. I mean, the guy was 6'6", 250, and ran a 4.6 as a D end. I mean, are you kidding? And his career with the Steelers, I'm going to be a Steeler home run this one, but because he hasn't gotten in, the threshold is the threshold, right? It is what it is. Some people are going to get in, and some people aren't. And I would take nothing away from anyone who ever qualified for any Hall of Fame. Obviously the controversy this year was Bob Kraft and Bill Belichick. They'll probably get in next year. Maybe they won't. Maybe there's a level of contrition here that the voters haven't been comfortable with, and that's just part of the game, the total game, not just the game on the field. And that's their right as voters. That's why they're put in place. They're guardians of the game and guardians of the Hall of Fame. And it can't be easy, but when you make your vote, and you move on.
Yeah, I think
you got to respect the will of the voters.
I think Roger Craig is kind of the Elsie Greenwood and Roger Craig have some similarities or parallels. They're on dynastic teams. They put so many players already in the Hall of Fame, so then they kind of parse the ones that their stats aren't aligning. And Roger Craig had, two of the best years ever as a running back, but he also has Montana, Rice and the lot there. Logan, is this setting up? Belichick not in, owner Kraft not in, first ballot. Tom Brady's going to be up next year. Are they going to snub him off the first ballot for all? Give it the trifecta. Any chance of that?
There's definitely a chance because they did it with Kraft and Belichick already, but I just think there's virtually no chance at all. Because you can't. Yes, there's multiple controversies, in his legacy. However, he's a 7-time Super Bowl champion, 8 times, 6 or 7-time champion, multiple-time MVP, 2 different teams, played till he was 45, 46. He's the greatest quarterback of all time, and you can't snub him out of first ballot. You can get away with doing, a contributor like the owner or even a coach like a Belichick. However, you can't do that to an actual player of the game. You can't snub the greatest or the greatest, however you want to describe him, the greatest quarterback, greatest player of all time in the NFL. You can't snub him. So I don't think there's a chance.
Do you think it's unanimous though?
It should be unanimous.
It should be.
It should.
Maybe there should be.
But then there's that one guy.
He was involved in Deflategate, threw his cell phone away.
There's that one guy who's a hater, and he didn't do it for Belichick or Kraft, so he might do it for Brady as well.
I'm in nostalgia mode. You got the Super Bowl, you got Olympics. Brendan, what does it feel like? I remember when I started to get a little bit older and I would see players that I grew up watching start getting into the Hall of Fame. Does it make you feel validated or old now? What's it like to seeing Drew Brees and Larry Fitzgerald, who you watched when you were a little kid, now?
It starts to make me feel a little old when I'm starting to see, and this is every sport, you're starting to see athletes that you grew up watching are now either in the Hall of Fame or they're announcers. It's a little weird. This is the fifth stage that I'm seeing this. But, another thing I wanted to mention when we're talking about the Hall of Fame here, is anyone else surprised that Eli Manning didn't get in? You did beat Tom Brady twice in the Super Bowl. Nobody else could say that.
I don't think he's deserved of a first. I think he'll eventually
beat Tom Brady twice.
Yeah, but he has a 500 record. He has almost as many interceptions as touchdowns. He's
maybe
not a great. He had one excellent regular season in his whole career. I think he deserves to sit back for.
Yeah.
Ben better get in on the one. Trent, right? Trent, what are you looking at? What are you looking at this Hall of Fame class? What's your thoughts?
Yeah, it's kind of what you just touched on. These were guys I grew up watching. They're part of my childhood. Drew Brees did more with as little than any other quarterback I've ever seen. He's making Marcus Colston and Robert Meacham into household names. Darren Sproles and Pierre Thomas out of the backfield, and he didn't have the size or the stature of Manning, but he got it done behind this offensive line. Sometimes he probably couldn't even see over him, and he, is winning games consistently year in and year out. I think Vinatieri definitely deserving, as the Patriots fans may not have thought that they were getting someone in the Hall this year, and Vinatieri is that guy. Some of the biggest kicks of all time. And then you got Luke Kuechly. Growing up watching him, it was like he knew the play that was coming before the offense even got out of the huddle. It was
he didn't play for the Patriots. This is amazing.
Right. Don't take my
He was a dog.
Yeah,
but he's from. He played at Boston College, so
yeah,
might have learned something there.
Yeah,
but Kuechly, obviously shortened career, but the best at what he does in that 5-year career.
Yeah, he played. I think it was him and Thomas Brooks together in Carolina. That was a really nice duo back in the day.
I always like this. Think about like how things change, Saban and stuff in the NFL. Miami decided to skip on trading for Drew Brees because they thought his shoulder was banged up. They got Dante Culpepper from the Vikings. We saw how all that worked out, and Drew Brees went on. Who knows what could have happened to Miami? John, Hall of Fame. What's your thoughts?
Where's Tom Coughlin?
I don't know.
That's my thought. Won 2 Super Bowls right with the Giants. Coached an expansion team. Lost their first 9. That was Jacksonville. Lost their first 9 games. I think it was 2 or 3 seasons after that. He's in a championship game against the Patriots. Took that team from basically a doormat to a contender in a very short period of time. And then he had a tremendous record with the Giants. I mean, tremendous. He won a lot of games and got to he won 1 Super Bowl. I know at least. So that's my question. He's not even an afterthought. I think he should get consideration. As far as the owner, like, I don't care what, look, Robert Kraft, whatever. But I do agree with you guys. If Tom Brady doesn't get in on the first ballot, you just need to cancel the whole thing.
And I feel like
just cancel it.
I feel like
just stop doing it, right? This guy, all this guy did was win game after game after game, especially that Atlanta game where they were down 21-3 at the half, and beat them, or 24-3 and beat them in overtime, 28-3, whatever the score was. I mean, the games that he's had, game after game, he would come back and win. I mean, if there's ever a first ballot guy, it's him. Ever.
I agree. And you know what? Going back to the Roger Craig thing, there was just something. He's going to sleep easy tonight. He's been waiting for that vote forever, and I hope he has a MyPillow. John, tell everybody.
Well, listen. I mean, Roger. Those of us who grew up, I think it was Trent that said, these guys I follow, they're now in the Hall of Fame, or they're in a broadcast booth. The guys I grew up with are dying. It's a big deal. Like
we started the show.
I mean, it's a little bit different when your friends are dying. That's what happens when you get older. I mean, it's just one after the other. Every quarter now, there's guys that you grew up with that are passing away, and so it kind of puts your life in perspective. But as long as you're going to be here on this earth, I believe in quality of life, and it doesn't matter. You don't have to spend a lot of money to have a quality of life. That's the whole thing. People think, to get a quality of life, I got to be rich. I got to do this. I got to have a big home with a gate. No, you don't need any of that, right? You need a great family and you need great comfort. And it's not always expensive. That's the thing. MyPillow is about quality of life. Pillows are fantastic. Their comfort is amazing. I sleep on their mattress. I sleep on their mattress topper. I got to tell you the other thing. If you have a pet, you guys that have pets out there, you got to get him the MyPillow pet blanket. I've never seen Sammy, like we have Saxman, we have blankets. There's like 18 blankets. Every chair except one under my desk, which he can't sit on, but he does anyhow. Every chair has a blanket on it for him. Every single one. There's all hair all over. You got to wash him, right? You got all these blankets. One blanket now he sleeps on, and that is his MyPillow blanket. He snubbed all the others, wherever that is, wherever Aunt puts it, plops on there. He's there all day, except when he comes into bed. I don't know what is in this thing. Somehow it retains heat. I have no idea. All I know is your pet, cat or dog, is going to love the MyPillow pet blanket. You can get that there. Plus, I got their socks on, super comfortable. Anything they have there. And promo code Godzilla, you get all the savings right now, free shipping through the end of February. It doesn't matter what your order is. You're not going to pay for shipping with promo code Godzilla. Quality of life and affordable. Go to MyPillow.com. Something there you're going to need and want. Towels are phenomenal. MyPillow.com, promo code Godzilla. Get all the savings there. And if you don't have the MyPillow slippers, what? You're nuts. Those things are phenomenal. They're so comfortable. All right there, MyPillow.com.
Well, I'm glad you brought up the pet blankets, because I've been really impressed with the MyPillow products over the years. Not just the pillows, but also the towels. And we're a hard sell as a family. Like we are pretty critical of the product. But we will tell you exactly what the product is and what it does. So now that you mentioned the pet blankets, because we have 3 dogs here. One was recently rehomed with us with an elderly gentleman passed, and he doesn't sleep in the bed with us like the other 2. But he sleeps right next to me on the floor. And when I go to bed, he goes to bed. Barnaby Bones goes right to bed. So I think I might upgrade his blanket and get him a
Yeah,
My
just
Pillow
get him.
blanket.
Just go to mypillow.com, Chris. I'm telling you, get him the My
No,
Pillow.
I've been there.
blanket.
I've been to the website. It's a
Yeah,
good
and
website.
put that and the towels. I agree with you. They're so superior to anything you got.
Oh,
But
yeah.
get him that pet blanket. Put that right by your bed, and he'll be one happy dog. Happy dog.
Yeah, Barnaby Bones. First of all, best name of all time. And also,
Well, his name was Barnaby, and if you remember and I couldn't do it, Barnaby, and he instantly started following me around the house. I'm like, okay, fine, like Barnaby's my guy now, and he's not 20 pounds or whatever. He's a small guy, elder, and he barks a lot, but that's his only downside. But so I'm going with Barnaby. What do I call this guy? Because Barnaby Jones was an old Buddy Ebsen show in the 70s, so I call him Barnaby Bones.
I love it. I love it. You listen to Godzilla Wins. I've been teasing it for 1 hour and 45 minutes, or 45 minutes if you're listening to us on Sunday. But we are going to finally talk about it. The Super Bowl. It is much anticipated. I honestly think it may be the two best teams. The matchup is great. We don't have a Kansas City Chiefs. So what? We have Seattle Seahawks, New England Patriots, a rematch from the 2014 Super Bowl that saw inexplicably not handing the ball off to beast mode and giving New England its sixth ring, which you go and look at that play again and go watch how that unfolded. It still is remarkable that Seattle does not have two Super Bowls. But here we are. We're back. Sam Darnold, a gentleman we didn't talk about in that MVP race, but he is a critical component to the Seattle Seahawks team. That is a well-rounded team. Jackson Smith-Njigba is the Offensive Player of the Year. Drake May was the runner-up MVP. Mike Vrabel is the Coach of the Year. This is a star-studded Super Bowl, despite not having all the marquee names. Brendan, how excited are you? What are your early thoughts? Looks like the line started at 3.5. It's gone to 4.5. What does that tell you? How you leaning? You don't need to make your pick quite yet. We can round that out. But what are you thinking on this?
I think it's going to be a much closer game than what people are anticipating. These are two great teams. I mean, Seattle's defense is unreal. They're going to have their work cut out with Drake May, obviously. But, the Seattle Seahawks, they have been tough all year. They have been tough on both sides of the ball. I really like Seattle in this game, but I think it's going to be very, very close. I think it's going to be an exciting game.
Logan, I think about and I don't mean to bring up your age again, but like when Ben Roethlisberger was in his first Super Bowl, I mean, he was second season, similar to Drake May. Ben came off of an insane rookie season that saw him go 14-1. Worked out, but he was raw. And the next season he came in. That team struggled, but they went on a crazy run. He was up and down in the playoffs. Played great against Denver, and then he did not play that well in the Super Bowl. I'm bringing all that up because you've got Sam Darnold and a Drake May that have never ever been in a game with this type of anticipation. I think nerves are going to set in right away. How much is coaching going to come into play here to try to get them some easy passes, get the one game set up, get them in a rhythm, make it just to make them visualize that this is just another day?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting you say that, Mitch, because both these quarterbacks should feel nerves in different ways. For Sam Darnold, he's finally getting to that peak he's so destined to be 5-6 years ago when he was drafted 3rd overall to the Jets. And then his career just kind of fizzled out after that, and now you have seen that resurrection. And then for Drake May, 2nd year in the league, I think he was also 3rd overall pick, maybe 2nd, but top 3. Coming off one of the best seasons we've had to see a young quarterback to date. And this is his first, like you said, his first appearance in the playoffs and now in the Super Bowl. Let's see if he performs. And then for Sam Darnold, it's always been the talk of his inconsistent play, of his turnovers. And he's put that to bed for most of the season. Now he's had that at times, most notably during the regular season. He had like 4 turnovers, I think, against the 49ers. They still ended up winning that game, which just shows how good their defense is. But yeah, the coaching is going to play a big role, and you're lucky. Well, we're lucky as fans, and then, for both of the teams, they're lucky that they have really good coaches to do that, with Mike Vrabel for the Patriots, and then for Mike McDonald, who was a home run splash hire for the Seahawks. He's instantly turned that franchise around right back to the top. And yeah, I think it's going to be a really exciting game. I think there's going to be a lot of good offense, but also a lot of stingy defenses where like you might not see a lot of touchdowns early on, but I think as the game goes on, the offenses will start to dominate. These are two really good defensive teams. Seahawks a little bit better, but these offenses are not going to be tamed. I think that you're going to see them start to explode in the second half.
Trent, something that's not alarming, but something I keep seeing pop up and it hasn't gone away in this 2-week break is Sam Darnold's oblique injury. And how's that going to come into play? He's been playing through it. Mike Vrabel's secondary is no joke. And that coaching of that secondary is absolutely phenomenal, especially the way they can hide their coverages and schemes. Do you think that oblique, or you might know, you follow the trends in the betting lines and so forth. Is that oblique injury affecting the way people are betting, or in your opinion, do you think it's going to have an effect on it?
I don't think it's affecting any betting markets. He's had a few weeks to, manage it. And Drake May's had a shoulder injury on the other side that he's been dealing with and rehabbing. So I think they'll be ready to go. I think the Patriots could implement a lot of pressure against Darnold, like they did against Stidham later, second half of that Broncos game. Because they have the secondary that they can send a lot of guys. The question is how they cover JSN. Do they double him with safety help over the top, keep Carlton Davis, kind of bracket him in on one side and leave Christian Gonzalez and man against Cooper Kupp on the other side? Or do they just line up Christian Gonzalez and put best on best and let him go at it? I think that's the key matchup for the Seattle on offense. As far as the Patriots on offense, Seattle runs zone rate at like 80% of the time,
right.
And I don't see them changing their ways in the biggest game of the season. So Drake May's dissected zone coverage all year, 75% completion rate. It's going to be a lot of Hunter Henry. The Patriots offense is going to have to be very patient moving the ball against Seattle's zone coverage. And Drake May has used his legs a lot. I don't think he uses his legs to run necessarily, but maybe to escape the pocket and extend the play and allow guys to get open downfield. But those are the keys for me in this game.
Yeah, Chris, am I crazy to think that coaching might be the X factor in this one, and specifically Josh McDaniels? I mean, he has been there, done that. I mean, he's been in 6 other Super Bowls. He's won countless Super Bowls. And the fact that he can just see how a game is going to go, or nerves, I honestly think the way he's going to call this, and the way Trent brought up Drake May's legs, they have incorporated that a lot in these playoffs as kind of like an X factor that people weren't seeing during the regular season. I just think McDaniels might be the X factor.
It's a great analysis, and I like where you're going with that. I do think, however, Seattle's a more complete team here and has been throughout the season. The problem for New England is that Seattle is healthy, and they haven't had a complete healthy roster as competition in Houston or in Denver. And key players, Nico Collins for Houston and Bo Nix in Denver. Those were huge holes that they had to fill. And frankly, if you put those players in the game, could be different outcomes, especially with the weather conditions in Denver and Bo Nix. Makes a big difference. Some difficult, I wouldn't say controversial, but coaching calls that didn't go the way of the Broncos. That said, I think the Seattle's just going to be a more complete team than it has been all year. So if you're looking at betting and you're putting your money on the line, I think the safer bet is here with Seattle to cover, because their offense has been more prolific than New England's defense. I don't think we'll be able to match up over the long term of this game. JSN, tough matchup. And Christian Gonzalez, that matchup is primo. And if to the Belichick way of thinking, if they can take JSN out of the game or neutralize him, that's going to be one of the key matchups in the game. But I just think Seattle has more firepower. The running game is great. And their defense, I think, is a difference maker. So when you come down to making plays, which the Super Bowls always come down to, is like, who's going to make the plays? I think Seattle just has more playmakers on defense and on offense.
Is this a week that Vegas just builds 3 more towers? Because I'm imagining, and Trent, can you let me know? I didn't look this up yet. Imagine the public money is on New England because it's New England and they're getting 4.5 points. Am I right there?
Public money is on Seattle, actually.
Ooh, I didn't know that. John, where are you going with this one, man? Like, there's so many storylines.
Every day I bet more money on Seattle, so that's where I'm going. I bet them to win the Super Bowl. I took 180, so I got that bet going. That's a money line bet, obviously, because I took them after they beat, I think, San Francisco, and I bet them at -3.5. I bet them -4. I bet them -4.5. So that's where I'm going with it. I think Seattle wins this game. I think they cover. I think with Chris, they got a better team. I understand the zone read you guys were talking about. Let's go to the Denver game, okay? May could move the football against that Denver defense. They don't get that turnover, they lose that game. Sean Payton kicks a field goal instead of going for 4th and 1.5. Bad decision. Denver wins that game. It's like the party's over. I mean, good team. I want to take anything away from New England. They had a pancake schedule. You guys know that, right? You can spin it all you want. They had a pancake schedule. They play the Texans. Stroud decides to implode and throw like 6 interceptions, or they don't win that game. Then they go to Denver. Then they don't have to play their quarterback. Then you got Stidham. Then he fumbles or whatever he did on the 7-yard line instead of punting the ball, and they win that game. So, yeah, their defense is good, but they're playing against a guy in Denver who hadn't thrown a NFL pass since 2023. So they win that game. Yay. Okay, that's who they beat. You juxtapose that to Seattle, who's beaten everybody. This is a very good football team with a very good offense, with a lot of speed. And you got a rookie quarterback playing against that defense. He's never seen this kind of speed. Right? He saw it a little bit against the Texans, and they needed 5 turnovers, 6 interceptions to win that game. So, look, I don't want to take anything away from New England. Rah, rah, yay, yay. Whole bit. I don't want to take anything away. Yay, rah. They had a good season. This is a betting show. And if you want to lose your money, you go bet the Patriots, because they're not going to win this game. If the object is to cash a ticket, then I love Seattle in this game, minus
come
the
out of the
4.5.
window down there. All right, Trent. So if you're the coaching staff for the New England Patriots, what you got to say, like, you got to live in the moment. You got mindfulness, baby. There's nothing in the past. There's nothing in the present. You live right here. That's the only thing that's real. So who cares what they did in the past? It's any given Sunday. They are there. Why are they going to win this game? Why is New England going to beat Seattle?
You can only play the teams on your schedule, and they went out and they won those games. Drake. What they have to do in this game is be very patient on offense. Drake May's got to take the easy completions to Hunter Henry, Stephon Diggs underneath. I think those are important decisions for Drake May. He can't make mistakes in this game because Seattle will make him pay. I think I like the Patriots to cover this game. I'm not in love with the money line, but I'd be careful betting that. A few props I like are Hunter Henry over 3.5 receptions and Drake May under 37.5 rushing yards for the zone coverage that Seattle plays. So
hey, I know we want to make prop bets illegal, but not today, not yet. All right, I need all these things. All right, Brendan, what are you thinking here?
Hey, I know everything what John said. You know, going back to the Denver game. Well, I don't think we're going to get a blizzard in Santa Clara, California. So, I mean, neither offense was moving the ball that day.
No.
So
maybe a power plant can make your ACL snap.
Yeah. I mean, maybe. But here's what I see happening. I love Seattle to win the game. However, I do not like the 4.5 against New England. I think that is just entirely too much points against a really good New England Patriot team. I think this is going to be a very close game. I think it's going to go back and forth most of the night. I think it's going to be a low scoring affair. So I'd probably bet the under if I was looking at that. But I'm going to go Seattle to win the game, New England to cover.
Oh, I like that Logan's battery is going 3-2-1. Logan, get your pick in before your battery just kerplunks on.
All right, 2%. I got Seahawks 27-24. Give me a lot of field goals early on in the game. However, the offense is going to heat up. Both offenses can be very electric, very quick offenses. Patriots, they've steadily gotten better as the year going on the offensive end. For the Seahawks, they got Nick Jibba, who's one of the best receivers in the game, and Sam Darnold. He has to play at an elite level. He can't go back to his ways of seeing ghosts and whatever when he was on the Jets. Play at elite level, rely on your defense, and yeah, for the Patriots, lean on Drake May. He's gotten you where you are. He's one of the best, and have a good offensive game.
Awesome, awesome. Someone send that boy a battery pack. Hey, Chris,
please.
Where are you going with this one?
Oh, Seattle to cover. I think the question on the over/under is a good one. I'd stay off of that, but I just think Seattle's a more complete team on both sides of the ball. I think they're just better, and there's no bias here when you just read the trajectory of both offense and defense of both teams, and there's no easy route to the Super Bowl. However, when you lose the top players for both teams on offense in Houston and Denver, if you're putting your money on the line, if you're a Patriots fan, go ahead. But even Patriots fans are going, look, I'll bet the cover, I may bet money line, but they're not going all in on this because they know Seattle's a really good team and potentially a dynasty in the making. They could be a repeat 2 out of 3, 2 out of 4. They've got a good young ball club. They got a great young coach. Look, Seattle's going to be dominant for a while, and that's pretty exciting for the game.
I mean, both these teams you could see around for a long time. I'm going with my heart here. I don't want the Steelers Super Bowl record to be broken, so I'm going with the Seattle Seahawks as well. Minus 4.5.
I'm petty too. I get it.
Before we get out of here, I just want to shout out to everyone at WVSportsNation.com. It was our year anniversary yesterday. Brendan, Trent, it's been an amazing ride. Logan Powell, obviously, but it's been such an honor. There's been a few columns that have been put up about the year anniversary. Please go check that out. It has been my pleasure to be part of that and also part of the Godzilla Wins crew. Please stay around for the Jay Delsing golf show right after this, and go enjoy some Olympics with your family, and then grab all your boys and your girls tomorrow and watch a Super Bowl. That's going to be an amazing game. We'll see you next Saturday, 9 a.m. right here, same time, same place. Have a great weekend.